What's up, everyone? NanMan back with some more modern action, and we've got a long, grindy one for you. This is going to be a fun match if you are into grindy matchups that don't involve blue, because we've got Goryo's Creativity, which is a Jund variant of the Creativity, Dominal Creativity to be exact, and then on the other side, Boros Land Destruction. So this is a bit of a twist on the Land Destruction. It is not running any of the Blink package. It's not utilizing the white Orchid Phantom that some of the lists are running. So should be interesting to see how things work out in this matchup here. But let's talk a little bit about what the decks are trying to do as we get into this match in particular. Of course, if you like the content, make sure you guys are checking it out. We do have lots of gameplay action on the channel. Every Monday and Thursday is our gameplay for Modern. We also got Legacy content. We're going to be doing a little bit of pre-Modern to show off on the channel soon, as well as many other cool gameplay stuff to be able to show off. But Goryo's Creativity is a twist, a shift, if you will, from the very fast combo all-in strategy glass cannon deck that is the Creativity list. There are a couple tweaks and variations to it by, basically when the release of the turtles. Let's be honest, right? Raph and Mikey made a big shift in this deck to be able to utilize that. Before, you were utilizing Creativity to go into like Archons of Cruelty and stuff like that. Those have all been stripped away now that we've gone into a Goryo's list. So we can basically attack you on two different axes here. We can go for the Graveyard Reanimation strategy, be able to get back a Grizzlebrand, get back a Raph and Mikey here, and just try to go. Or we can be able to cast our Indomitable Creativity and take one of our tokens that we've got or creatures and turn it into cascading essentially into a creature from the top of our library here. But Profane Tutor has been added to the list, a little bit of toolboxiness to help us find what we might need. On the other side of things, you do see the Boros Land Destruction here, just sort of setting up and getting prepped and ready, utilizing a lot of the lands. Also really cool to see just basically a full foreign set of cards. I want to say they're all Japanese, but I only played against this player one time recently at our LGS and was just so focused on the game that I didn't have as much time to sit here and go through. Luckily, I knew what all the cards are, but if you ever are playing against foreign language people, just make sure, like, at least with the cards, make sure you're asking, for clarification on what cards do. Don't just always assume, because there are those little nuance plays where, oh, wait, that doesn't work quite the way I thought it did, or, oh, wait, I misremembered which how that card worked, stuff like that. But we do see a Faithless Looting, which is one of those very useful tools when it comes to a reanimation strategy. Of course, we did get to have a Grixis Reanimator list up on the stream up on Monday, but here we do see a Thoughtseize going to be able to show us some tools. So this is a tricky part here. It's like, do I get rid of your threat with Solitude, or do I let you keep it because you could maybe not get your fifth land and then be stuck with 2-for-1ing yourself, maybe. But I feel like, it's basically 3 single target removal spells and a board wipe here. So I like this sort of get rid of your threat that you could have, and now I just know that there are single target stuff, which makes this even harder of trying to be like, well, I'll just go for my single target pierce strategy of reanimation or creativity, and now I don't really have a good way to do that. All right, here is some of our lands. There's that 5th land that we needed. So the list itself is going to run a lot of these sort of toolboxy lands, both ones that can activate abilities, help you cast stuff off the top of your library in a way, but also things like Field of Ruin, stuff like that can blow up your opponent's lands. The deck takes a control approach, not only with the way that it controls your resources and not letting you be able to cast your spells, but also controlling the battlefield of constantly, keeping you in check by blowing up your stuff. The creature base in the list is pretty much only Solitude. We're going to attempt to bring back this Raph and Mikey here, the troublemakers, who have a trigger when they attack, so we cannot let them attack. But let's see. Untappies. Of course, Goryo's the way it works out is you're casting it, so they'll go away. You have to sack it on this end step here. There's Path. By running this kind of Jund list, we don't get access to blue, so no counterspell to help us get rid of that Path. So sadly, Wrath goes away. We will get a basic off this, and that's the other thing too. Like the way that this land destruction list is set up is oftentimes the Path, the fields, things like that will allow you to get a basic, but a lot of lists are running like 2 basics. Some lists might run more. 2-color lists might run up to like 4, but for the most part, if you're running like a 3-color list, you are tending to sit here at like 2 basics because of how tight you have to keep your mana base to be able to cast all your spells. But there's Field of Ruin. Of course, we'll pop up all the activations of all the lands. If there's any specialty lands that are popping up, we'll do our best to show these decks or show these cards for you on camera. Now, if you want to see the decks themselves, we do have our Mox Field link in the description, so you can check out all the information about the list. And if for whatever reason the list had not been posted up at the time of you're watching, leave a comment, let us know, and we'll make sure to send you the link. But we do got this is the like tough situation now, though. It's like, all right, what can we do to kind of put the pressure on our opponent? Right now we got tokens to help us. We know there's a Wrath of Skies, but it's like if we have a 1/1 and a 2/2, is that really what... Like, that's the thing too, right? It's like it's game 1. You haven't seen all the scary stuff, so you're like, I don't know if I want to commit right now to the Wrath of Skies. It might not be as useful or helpful here. You see almost that debate there about the removal we've got in hand too, which is the emergency eject, because you get to destroy target non-land permanent. The controller gets a lander token, but the debate is whether or not getting rid of the enchantment here is going to be helping us progress, because it's like, the idea is to control the battlefield. Right now, we're just sort of in that like wait and see mode. Wait until there's something worth controlling, and until then I'll just keep controlling your lands and popping them and doing things like that and getting rid of your threats. And right now there is access to red, but not much else. We do have access to black because we do have the red-black shock land up there, but I don't know. This is going to be a lot of what the match is going to be. It's like, how constrained are we on our mana to be able to execute our game plan before you stop us, right? So that we're going to have to see how this goes in this match. In particular, as Boros Land Destruction, does have a companion, so they do have a threat that they could play later. And looks like we are going to do the emergency eject button here. Pop this on out, get rid of this, which I think is a good idea. All right, you don't want to be able to have to deal with more and more copies of creatures. You don't want to have to deal with that continuing to get better. That food is what that looks like right there, is our lander token. I think that's a food token. I don't know. Regardless, that token is a lander token, not necessarily going to be useful, because I believe the creativity list is sitting only at 2 snow-covered mountains there, but this will help us with our mana, generating a treasure off the attack trigger. Ruckus Theater going to do some surveillance, get us some information. Whatever it is, we're happy with what's on top. But yeah, this is this weird, like, okay, we've got our creatures, but if we commit into something big and scary, the land destruction list will just sit here and get rid of it, right? Path to Exile, Solitudes. It's got so much single target removal, and even go wide removal with Wrath of Skies, that you really are stuck with this weird game plan of having to kind of wait. But okay, Quarry Mountain Monastery, we can play this until our next turn. It happens to be a land, so we could drop that down. This might be the time, right? Coast is clear. No white mana, but knowing that there are solitudes in the list, we've already stripped one away earlier. We don't want to necessarily just go and not have a haste effect. There's only one Raph and Mikey in the list, and it's currently sitting in exile. Yeah, this is so interesting. Like the combo strategy versus the control strategy. Who's going to be able to kind of blink first? Who's going to put themselves in a difficult position? And one of the ways that this Boros Land Destruction can kind of get away with just being like, I'm tapping out, is by having access to those solitudes. But also now we've got even more mana because there's one white source sitting there, so that means our path is live. So just going to continue to just going to chip away here. Life totals have actually evened up considerably now, 11 to 10. But you can poke all day. Eventually, as life gets low enough, you might just deploy the Wrath of God and just say, okay, I'm done dealing with this. Cleansing Wildfire here. We could blow up our own lands, you know, if we needed to, like if we had a indestructible land. You know, we've seen that on camera quite a bit when we feature that Izzet Eldrazi list that would run like Darksteel Citadel and be like, all right, I'm cleansing Wildfire my own stuff. I'm gonna go get a land and I'll draw a card, and you're just gonna sit here and watch me ramp. Basic Plains, though, continuing to add up. There was some discussion about, does this list run Blood Moons or Magus of the Moons or things like that, but doesn't really have that ability to do that because of utilizing so many non-basics in that regard, right? Being able to use the Field of Ruins and Demolition Fields and things like that, it's just too much. But there's Profane Tutor going to pop off. Go find any card we need, put it into our hand. I like Profane Tutor a lot. I mean, I have it now. I don't play it currently in Modern, but I'm not playing any of these types of decks that it would be really good in. I only really am using it in Commander right now. I want to say I might have one in my cube, in my powered cube, just because I'm like, we're going to have basically all the tutors and, you know, give you a chance to draft what you want to draft. And, you know, there's always the fun part of cube of just like, oh, I like this card, so I'm going to add that to my cube. Which, if you want to see more cube content, we do have our Pack 1 Pick 1 videos that are up on our other social media stuff, Instagram and TikTok, which if you're interested in following those, highly recommend that. We've got daily videos for that over there, so check the description for our links related to our short form content. All right, flashing back the Faithless Luden here. Let's get some more information, get me some more resources that we can use, try to break this stalemate. I mean, it's not necessarily a stalemate because we are still applying pressure, but it does feel like we're waiting here. Oh, Emrakul trigger. Let's shuffle that up. It says, oh, can I just double check and confirm what I'm looking at in the graveyard? Discarding the Emrakul there is nice. We get access to a lot of our lands that were destroyed earlier off of those Cleansing Wildfires and Price of Freedoms and things like that, that now we can be able to basically have fetchable sources again, which was tough for a while there, but we at least have Treasure 2 to be able to help us out. Field of Ruin, pop the Dwarven Mines. All right, so how do you navigate, like, how do you get out of this position, right? That's the real question as you're sitting here and being like, well, if you're on the Boros Land Destruction, you're looking and trying to get to a threat, right? We do see a Solitude, which we can hard cast if we need to, but we're trying to save that as much as possible. Also, with Emrakul, the only way to interact with it is Solitude, because Emrakul has protection from colored spells, but not abilities. So the ETB trigger, here's this essentially ability, right? Triggered ability that will let me be able to do it. But there's the Wrath of God. Destroy all the creatures that can't be regenerated. We're just going to put a stop to that now. But that kind of goes, okay, let's fetch shock. Ruckus Leader again. Faithless Looting. Wow. Hey, Dwarven Mines. Okay, again, we're just getting up our count here, but there is the Faithless Looting. Let's try to dig for some stuff. Bolts are actually worth holding on to here. Lightning Bolt's nice. Fatal Push doesn't really do anything. But the Bolts, though, because we've dropped our opponent to 7, this could make all the difference here. We could be able to find a way to apply a little bit more pressure, right? One dwarf could go through. And actually, let's go. We're trying to push here. Indomitable Creativity. That's going to be met with a path, though. Clear that up. Of course, that is your window to respond. I would like to destroy this creature and then flip. And you go, well, I'll respond and get rid of the creature you're targeting. Now, that becomes harder to do if they had been like, I'm going to pick 2 things. One of which was a treasure token. Right? Because you can, the way that creativity reads is it lets you be able to do tokens. All right, let me double. Now I'm second guessing. I'm pretty sure it's tokens that are not like destroy X target artifacts or creatures. For each permanent destroyed this way, its controller reveals cards from the top of his or her library until an artifact or creature is revealed this way. Those players put them. But maybe you're looking at it and going, well, I only have 2 targets left. If I commit and do 2 here, you get rid of both, and then I have no threats left in my library. But, I mean, the Emrakul, though, it's like, I don't know. Here's the Thoughtseize, though. This will also give us some information. Okay. So, Kahira was grabbed. So, that's a threat that the Boros Land Destruction was able to get. Of course, they're only allowed to have elementals in the list because they are rocking out with the... using Kahira as a companion. Thoughtseize. This will also... Yeah, okay, Solitude there. I like that. Because, again, that's the only way to get rid of the Emrakul. But if we had done it on the I don't know. I feel like if we had pulled the trigger on one of our treasure tokens, but or even the lander token. What are we doing with that lander token? That should be pop instead of our dwarf. Because that's so much harder to interact with, right? With all these paths and things like that makes it so hard. But now we can't push again because of that impending wrath right there. The Wrath of God won't let us do it. Even though we have the creativity in hand now. We have a bolt. Also, we're not guaranteed to hit Emrakul. There's still a Grizzlebrand in the list. All right. Are we... Okay, we are. I was like, are we just activating it? Activate, cast, Cleansing Wildfire. Pop this. You may search if you'd like. I'll go draw a card. Don't want to search? Okay. All right, Wrath is clear now. I don't know. I think that's the play now, right? Pay. Do we go all in? Faithless Looting. There's Grizzlebrand. Pitch Grizzlebrand. So now that means Emrakul is the only live find, right? Is there more than one Grizzlebrand in the list? Oh my gosh, this is such a stressful moment here. But with the creativity in hand, we could creativity the lander away next turn, right? I like the idea of just pass here, fetch, Thoughtseize. I mean, we'll go super low, but an Emrakul that is essentially the only out would be a Solitude. There's 2 already gone. That means there's 2 potential that could come. I guess another Wrath of God could also just get us. Ooh, that's decent. More field, but no, it looks like we're not gonna play it here. We can play it next turn. Okay, I like this. Just that basically 2 mana, constantly pop your stuff. All right, Thoughtseize. We'll go to 6. No, we'd have to go lower, right? We'd lose 3. Fetch Shock. Go to 5. Go to 3. But basically put ourselves in a spot to say, find Solitude or I win. You see our Goryo's player in the tank here. Like, it's easy for us having perfect information and going through and not being in the seat to sit here and kind of point out these lines, right? Where I think it's like so complicated right now of us sort of watching and seeing, oh, okay, that also opens up a line. We found a Goryo's. There's a Grizzlebrand in the graveyard right now. Being able to get that out and gain some life is really big. So that I think that's our like our lines, right? Of how can I get this scary thing out? That's the whole end goal of the deck. How can I fight through the amount of removal? And I think just the constant checking with the Thoughtseizes and stuff like that, and just seeing, oh my gosh, it's all removal. Your deck is just removal and land destructions, right? It's a twist on how to control things. And even these, like, I'm going to reveal the top card, I get to play it until my next turn, is, you know, that scary information, right? It's like when you find out your opponent has a counter spell and you're just like, oh my gosh, eventually I have to force the issue and force them to use it. The problem is it's like they have 5 counter spells in their hand, all different variations. Oh, I've got this regular counterspell, I've got this spell snare, I've got this spell pierce, I've got this forcing again, right? It's just like this list goes on and on and on about tools that they've got to answer it, because it's like, oh wait, I have this Path to Exile, I have this Wrath of Skies, I have this emergency eject, like I've got all these ways to stop you in your tracks. But all right, emergency eject on the treasure token here. The players just came up. Are you still on game 1? Sure are. But that's the thing too. It's like, I always make the joke: never give up, never surrender. Until you know there is a specific spot to be like, okay, yeah, this is a clear lost spot. I can't get out of this situation, right? But you're playing for your outs and going, I can still win if these certain things happen. So I'm not going to give up yet. Also, there's no threat on the other side for this Boros Land Destruction. The life total is still 8-7, so it really can go either way here at this moment in time. So we see Kahira popping down. 3-2 with Vigilance. Oh, creativity. Do we just go? All right, Bolt cleans up Kahira. I don't know. I keep coming back to that, like Emrakul having protection from colored spells. I mean, there's all this stuff to sack with it, right? The Annihilator's not the issue, but the issue is a 15/15 that's flying coming at you. So this path is also presenting like the Goryo's line is not a viable line here. It's basically saying, if you try to go for this, I will stop you. But Profane Tutor going to do a little bit. This also gives us that confirmation to look through. What tools do we have that we can utilize to still win, right? Okay, there's still... You see this, like, hesitation. Oh, there's a Traxa still on the list. Okay, so it's not guaranteed But we have 2 tokens. Pay 3, but we don't have enough mana to do that, right? Because it's X in the mana cost. Okay, that makes a lot more sense of why there was so much hesitation up to that point, is if we did it for 1 and we just get Atraxa. I mean, Atraxa is great, but it's not a guaranteed win here. So there are the 4 big scary creatures the list has. Atraxa, Grizzlebrand, Raph and Mikey, and Emrakul. What are we tutoring for here? I mean, we could tutor for Atraxa here. Okay, I don't mind this draw here and grabbing this off the tutor. You're going for the Fable of the Mirror Breaker because that gives you a token, that gives you a threat, that gives you a way to make treasure. Like it's progressing your game plan more and more to be able to set yourself up for those lines to be able to win from. All right, so I am tracking life, but the players made a comment that this put the Goryo's player to 7. So I don't know if I missed a life point total here or there. Something happened. I don't know. It's very possible. In this match, in all the editing that I was doing of making sure all the card images were up, as well as being able to do the life totals, I make mistakes. It happens. But we do see Field of Ruin going to continue to kind of keep things in check here. But will the Treasure Goblin be able to survive? I don't know. I don't think it will, though, with the amount of mana that our Boros Land Destruction player has available to him. Like, it really is a control deck. All right. I would like to make a soldier. Oh, wait, an energy. No. There's the soldier. I like the Swords to Plowshare soldier here. And hard cast of Solitude. That's also a little bit of a nice moment here. Go back to 7, or in their case, 9. We need another land. We needed that treasure token, to be honest. Treasure and a land, and then we could go off. I guess we just... Oof, take 4. Go to 3. Gain 3. More players have come up and go, this is game 1. There's a lot of players that were playing that were already done with their round at the point of this going, this is still game 1 and 28 minutes in. And that's also me cutting out the players shuffling at the beginning of the match. Okay. Yeah, we got... That's the thing. Creativity costs so much. But we have just lost so many resources. But we're going for it. Here's the Goryos. Let's get this Grizzlebrand back. Hey, here's a path. And now we can scoop it up. Okay. Whew. Oh, my gosh. What a game.
Gameplay to let you know about our new affiliate with Nerdgear. Nerdgear.gg/NanMan will take you directly to the website, and as you can see, they've got a bunch of awesome gaming accessories from playmats, life counters with the life tracks, playmat holders, and more. So make sure you do some browsing on the site, find some goodies, and then use the code NGNanMan for 5% off your entire order. But let's get back to our gameplay.
Right. Let's get back to it, shall we? Game number 2. A basically 30-minute long game 1. What a grind fest. I told you, I tried to warn y'all. If you're interested in seeing this kind of control magic, this is definitely a land go matchup for you. I love it. But also I enjoy magic in almost every form. Play a lot more of the modern side of things. I'll of course do Legacy. Cube have a ton of fun with. I don't play Standard anymore. Sorry, all you Standard gamers out there, but I'm not saying that Standard's not good for those that enjoy it, but this is not Standard. This is Modern. This is game number 2. Boros Land Destruction currently up 1-0 here, and we see an immediate drop to 15. Thoughtseize. Ooh, interesting. It says, I'll move this aside for you, but maybe not. Double Solitude, though, and what is that? Mishra's something. Mishra's... we saw it in Legacy for the 4 Seasons event. No, we're taking a Solitude. I like that. That's also forcing is like you're going to have another white source, because more likely than not, you're probably going to try to play that. Of course, Rest in Peace, because you're going to try to attack the graveyard, because you saw me doing that strategy of the Goryos. And then, will you have a way to deal with it utilizing Solitude, or will Solitude not actually be able to be cast because you don't have another pitch spell? But there's the Rest in Peace, exiling. So now that kind of resets all the stuff. But here is our Fable the Mirror Breaker, making a little gobbo, and then we can start making some tokens, generating some mana from treasure. So also, if it goes on, we'll just keep upticking it and being able to draw cards, discard cards, do all that kind of fun stuff. They technically will just go to exile instead of into the graveyard, but, well, you know, it is what it is. All right. Okay, Demolition Field. Uptick. What are we discarding? You see this, like, hesitation here about, looks like grabbing the Faithless Looting, whether we want to pitch that or not. And we say, no, we're fine with keeping our full amount. Let's pop this. Do the Ruckus Theater here. Allow you to get a basic. Everybody gets a basic. And we have a path for your token, too. Resets everything here. Dwarven Mines for a land for turn. Oh, no. Oh. There's our 4 mana we need. Pop this token. What do we get off the top? Spin the wheel. Here we go. Anything good? Give us something. Some big scary creature here. Grizzlebrand again. All right, Grizzlebrand off the top. Of course, the 7/7 flying lifelink, pay 7, draw 7. And we know there's a Solitude still in hand, but I don't think there's any other white sources, right? Unless one gets drawn, which is very possible. But based off the knowledge we had about what was in hand, there wasn't a lot. So are we digging? We're digging. Mishra's research desk is what it was. I knew it was something with Mishra, right? Lets us be able to pop this, exile 2 cards, we pick one of them. Okay. We'll take this land. Do the check about, okay, does it exile it or not? How does that work? Untap, upkeep, flip. So we do have some interaction here. Question is when, right? I like this. Pop it now. Get rid of a little bit of some Staxy pieces, but we don't really need them right now because there's something scary out and we got to deal with this. In response, pay 7 life, draw 7 cards. We're going to gain 7 life off it. So the whole goal is making sure you utilize the Solitude before the Grizzlebrand hits, because you don't want your opponent to gain even more life. They're going to gain 7. We keep the life totals at 13 because of the reset. But oh my gosh, what a draw! Flash fires, anybody? Destroy all planes. Did you expect this? I did not. I don't think anybody was prepared for that to come in from the sideboard. But you have to think it's like if you're weak to like a blue-white control list, blowing up all the planes is a really good idea. I'm glad that I dodged, or I don't think I was playing that week with my Esper Blink list, my Esper's Catcher Mouse. I think I was on Is It Twin, but I'm glad I did not play against this Goryo's Creativity list that week, because I would have been blown out by the flash fires. All right. Oh, okay. Demolition Field, though, will allow us to be able to get access to a planes again. Do the check. Do I care? No. Pass turn. All right. Duress. What you got? Popper All-Star right now. 2 lands. Cool. That means the coast is clear. That means we're going to spin the wheel. Another Dwarven Mine. Yeah, Dwarven Mines. Gets us a little dwarf. 1/1 red dwarf creature token. And then pay 4. Turn this into something scary. What do we got? Spin the wheel. Oh, Raph and Mikey. Oh my gosh, what are we hitting off the top here? All right, combat, trample, haste, 7/7. When it attacks, reveal that top card until you reveal a creature. So let's creativity a second time. This time we're going to find Emrakul. Hey, GG, go next. That's what the deck's powerhouse. That's the glass cannonness and how explosive it can be. And the idea of like, yeah, we can go a little bit longer. If you can't kill me fast enough or disrupt me fast enough, I'm going to be able to do something like that and just take over. But now we're getting into game number 3, all tied up here. What a game. Still plenty of action left in this match. So if you guys are enjoying this, make sure you're following along, subscribing, all that kind of good stuff, which we appreciate. Any comments that you guys have about the match itself is always greatly appreciated, as these players are mulliganing down. But what do you guys think about their playmats that they're utilizing here? Legacy Championship, the card Titan one we see on the right, signed. We've got the new Dan Secret Lair one. Oof, good stuff. I don't know, I'm looking forward to going to some more events in the fall. We've got, of course, MagicCon Atlanta that's on our radar that we'll be going to. We are also going to be going to Commander Sealed. So if you guys are interested in doing that, that is up in Rochester, New York. You can get a whole pool of cards, build a commander deck, and play a couple of rounds with it. We're going to be starting to raise money for charity for that at the beginning of July. We'll do a couple of streamed matches and play some leagues, just have some fun, play some RTSs, just kind of enjoy ourselves to raise some money. So if you guys are interested in donating for a great cause, let us know. Join into the streams. Of course, all the links will be in the description for you guys to check that out. But getting back to this, Mistra's work desk, or whatever the heck that thing is called, that artifact, it's going to help us dig, and we find 2 lands, one of which is a utility land, so that's the one we're going to be setting aside to utilize next turn there. All right. These you can cast. Or are they gone? It says, nope, those are my graveyard. Cast this for my land for turn. I mean, you just know that's like a handful of removal. All right, based off of how game 1 and 2 went, it's just going, oh gosh, okay, you have so many tools. Rest in peace. Let's get it out early. In response, cling to dust. Let's exile this. I'll be able to at least draw a card. Which I like that line. Otherwise, it's a dead card in hand, right? I'm wondering, it's like, if the Boros Land Destruction list has room for like a one of Crucible of Worlds or something like that. Because it does all of the, specific land destruction lands, that it might be worth it I think it has a Ghost Quarter. I want to say it has at least one Ghost Quarter in the list. Field of Ruin only goes for non-basics, but like if you have your Ghost Quarter, you just keep replaying that again and again and again. It's really scary. All right, Faithless Looting. We'll pitch a Bolt and a land here. Basically, what are we okay with getting rid of? All right, the control element is starting to kick in for our Boros Land Destruction as we're able to sort of just like keep chipping away at the Goryo's list. This Goryo's creativity, to be exact. The all-in Glass Canoness is not kind of able to necessarily keep up with the amount of disruption that's being thrown its way, but it's been surprisingly resilient. We saw how grindy game one was. We're seeing it kind of right now with just sort of this slow build up here. Yeah, those Goryos, though, are just dead draws. Duress is nice. All right, we see the Demolition Field. Pop this. Let's both get some basics. Like that, just sort of, yep, no, you're good. That's fine. I watch you shuffle, you're good. It's local, it's F&M, you know, it's not a RCQ or things like that. If you're at an RCQ, always cut your opponent's deck. We saw it on camera this year. We know cheaters do happen, whether they intend to or not, but, you know, sometimes people do, so safety first. Field of Ruin's going to pop another land, getting us our second and final basic mountain that we've got access to. Of course, Boros Land Destruction has quite a few that they get to be able to utilize. We attempt to cast Flash Fires, but it was a... Oh, just kidding. This is not a instant. It's a sorcery. So now I've just sort of tipped my hand and revealed my line, which now gives the Boros Land Destruction player a moment to kind of go, ooh, I better use my mana before it's gone, knowing that it's about to pop and disappear. How can I do that? Let's try to keep you in check with a price of freedom. And I'll just blow up one of your basics here. Ooh, that's tricky. All right, going for a basic here. Or fetching up a land here. Then more basics left. We've got Dwarven Mines. We've got Shock Lands. Yep, there's the Shock. Did we get another land? Duress. Oh my gosh, look at all this removal. Path is gone. Yeah, I mean... It's basically 3 of the same spell, right? And then another Rest in Peace. Faithless Looting going to get us something here. Trax is gone. I mean, it's basically a dead card in hand, right? All right, we got our land for next turn. All right. Land go. You can see the speed at which our Goryo's player is moving too. Part of that is being mindful of the clock. All right, Flash Fires. Let's pop and get rid of 3 of your lands, which is a pretty good use of a turn here. There's not much. I like this. Activation. Okay. And a road. Let's get rid of your token, just in case you had a follow-up for next turn. We do have access to at least 1 plains in hand. Yep, there's the plains. All right, now this will help. High Noon going to come out. Let's really start to slow you down. Ooh, Dwarven Mines. Do we have a creativity? We do. Creativity. There's the erode we knew of. Oh, wait. There was no white source. So he goes, oh, that resolves, I guess. Oh, I was like, wait, what happened? Both of them trying to cast cards they couldn't for a second there. All right. Grizzlebrand back again. No haste effect, though. Oh, man. Imagine if we got the Emrakul. I think Raph and Mikey are in hand right now. Okay. Mishra's research desk. Pop it. Exile 2. Okay. I guess, yeah, it's like, that's fine. All right. Push. I mean, we know it's going to get sent away. We know, but let's first pay 7 life. Drop to 8. See if there's a response. I mean, we could go to 1 if we really wanted to. I don't recommend it, but there's the road. All right, 7 cards. What do we find? 5 mana available. Player land for turn. Oh, flash fires popping your planes again. That's our only spell we're allowed to play this turn because of High Noon. Oh, we're in turns now. Okay, that was turn 0. This is turn 1. Let's get rid of your steam vents. Price of freedom. I get to draw a card. Okay, there was the debate about the field here, right? Another Dwarven Mine. We get 1 spell a turn. Oh, the Thoughtseize. Wait, didn't we know about that? No, we didn't. All right. Rest in Peace is now gone. That means there's no white sources or nothing to pitch for Solitude. But this is technically turn 2, so we need to win next turn. Trying to cast, but we can't. There at least is somebody that is nearby that was like, wait, High Noon, you can't. So appreciate a big shout out to all of our players at the shop that came over the feature match and will help those moments of like, oh no, you can't do that because of these things. Like, well, that'll happen, which I do greatly appreciate. It helps our players out, helps us watching at home what's going on. But there's another demolition field. This will at least get our Boros Land Destruction player access to white source that they can use. And now we're close to blowing up the High Noon for 5 damage. Putting Goryo's player to 1. Oh, second High Noon. I mean, if we had tried to go on for creativity last turn, just like shrug, shove, we get an Emrakul or an Atraxa. Either way, it's pretty good. Fable. I don't know. I don't know why we don't, like, take damage. Haha, I like that. Hey, there's the handshake. Neither player able to get the win there. 1-1-1 in the end. The controlliness of Boros Land Destruction, keeping the Goryo's creativity in check. We got to see basically both decks do the thing in this match, right? We got to see the Boros Land Destruction control the battlefield, control the lands, control the creatures, keep everything in check, and do exactly what it was trying to do. It drags the game on, and there's not a lot of threats in the list. Really, there's 5. 1 companion that you can be able to bring in, and 4 solitudes. It can make tokens. There is a land that will be able to make 1/1 tokens, but I'm wondering if there's room for a planeswalker or two to add to the list. You know, Wandering Emperor or something like that that you can do just to be like, yeah, let's close out the game a little faster. I don't know how like, it's tough in that situation to find the slots though. But yeah, creativity got to be like, here's an Emrakul, right? Here's a Raph and Mikey. Here's an Emrakul OTKU. But I don't know, both the lists are very cool, very interesting to see kind of the speed versus the delay, slow, let's drag the game out kind of mentality of it. And look at these tools that we're seeing brought in here. I like the idea of the Celestial Purge, more exile type effects, more slow down effects, get rid of the graveyard, find these avenues to attack the deck and just sort of set yourself up for greater success there. But very nice, very cool to be able to see this kind of nice drawn out control matchup here on the channel, especially when we've been having some faster paced games. We do have some more fast paced games coming up, of course, some exciting games coming up next week for you to be able to enjoy, one of which is going to be humans versus a Izzet Cutterless. But that's going to do it for us. Thanks so much for tuning and watching, y'all. I'll see you all next game.